As we sit here tonight, we call upon the sacred light of Source, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. We call upon our spirit guides, angels, ascended masters, light beings, and galactic guides. We call upon our ancestors, nature spirit, and animal guides. We invite in Archangel Michael, Naisingha, and Hanuman, as well as the energy of Phi and the spider, to weave a web of sacred geometry around our space for protection. We call upon Ganesh to open the path, and we call upon Thoth, the keeper of time and wisdom, to open the gates to the Akashic records so that we may download knowledge and wisdom. Spirit guides, as we sit here tonight, we call upon our ancestors and any beings around us or any beings that can come to us that would like to be crossed into the light. Any souls that have been lost throughout time, space, any dimensions and realities that want to go into the light to reconnect with their soul, their family, and anyone else. Any energies that we have attached to us that would like to be crossed as well. Please help us in guiding these souls and transforming them into the light. And please send us any messages that we need to know for ourselves and the collective in this moment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And with that, the sacred circle is now open. Namaste.
As you were opening, I saw walking down a street, a very, very suburban street. There was trees that lined either side of the sidewalk. I saw a woman and a little girl walking. The woman is older. I would say I see them from the back, so it's hard to say, but I know that she's older because she's a little hunched over. She's walking slowly and deliberately. And she's holding the little girl's hand, and I feel like it's partly as just to help with walking a little bit. Um, she has like a skirt on and kind of like those old lady orthopedic shoes that have like a little bit of a lift to them. She has them on. And it's twilight, like the time of day where it's getting dark out, but it's still fairly light. It's in the early stages of that. And the sidewalk is very uneven. Spirit's showing me the unevenness of the sidewalk because there's a lot of tree roots and things like that. So she's very concerned about tripping and falling. And I feel like she's had a few trips in a fall. Spirit's also giving me a lot of pressure around the top of my head as she moves in. Um, and they're just taking a walk, and I just feel like it is my favorite time of day, but I feel like from her, it's her favorite time of day. And she just, no matter how she feels, she wants to go outside and take a walk. And like, it feels like such a special time that her and her granddaughter are able to do that together. And I can feel like her love for the child and the child like enjoying being with her. And they're making very slow go down the street. And I'm just going to sit with it and see what else they have to say. But that's all for now.
I have a male teen with dark hair, and he's showing me hanging out in his room. There are posters on the wall, and they look like something from like the late 90s, early 2000s. And his hair is it kind of looks like Fred Wentz from I think it's called Fall Out Boy or Good Charlotte, one of those bands, but it's the hair kind of in that style. And the room is actually dark. The lights, even if the lights were on, it would still be kind of dark, just the way his room is. As far as lighting, lots of trees around the home. He seems confused. Like, how did we get here? How did we get here? Not us, but like, how did he get there? Like, how is he still there? That's all for now.
I could see him as well when you were talking. And it's interesting. I could feel that confusion, and I feel like a sense of him like plopping down on his bed, like almost like a little exasperated. And I can see those posters on the ceiling above the bed, and they look like they're the kind of like blacklight posters that used to be really popular. Um, but I can't quite see what's in it. But yeah, there's definitely a darkness to the room in the sense that there isn't much light, but there's a little bit of heaviness around him, a little bit of heaviness around the environment. Um, but I also do feel the sweetness from him as well. That's all for now.
I'm also seeing, I see what you're saying about that, the black light, because I'm seeing like some kind of blue, like a reflection of blue sometimes off his hair, which is interesting. But the there's like it looks like a bracelet on his wrist, and it almost feels like it's something like a hemp rope or a wooden beaded bracelet.
When you say the sort of like reflection of blue, it's as if someone turned the lights in the room on, but everything's like backlit in this soft sort of blue glow. And I feel an energy moving and connected with this blue glow, like very strong, very peaceful, very almost masculine energy that's coming in connected to that. And what's so curious is about the black light poster, there's a feeling of like trying to look at it and trying to figure out what the poster should be. It's almost like one of those magic eye posters, but it's in like black light. And it's like I can't quite see what's in there. And there's something about that's how he felt, or like he could see something, or maybe that's how he feels now. He can see it and he's like almost there, but he can't quite make out what he's supposed to do or where he's supposed to go or even what he's looking at. And I do feel like this energy that's coming in around him is connected with Archangel Michael. Um, and he's there, but I do feel like there's just like a push that he needs, like, or a little bit of help seeing something or seeing what's in the poster or figuring something out. That's all for now. I'm also getting this weird kind of buzzing in my ear, almost like there's something in the room that's emitting like a some sort of frequency, like a almost like a bug zapper or something sound, but it's not a bug zapper, but that's the closest thing I can describe it to. That's all for now.
Saying that Archangel Michael is there, I was seeing just his wings standing like across the room. And I can see everything you're saying, and I can definitely see the blue energy around his wings. Yeah, that's all for now.
As you were saying, the wings were unfolding. It's really weird because all of a sudden across my stomach, it's like something started spreading. And it's almost like that feeling that I remember from being younger, like when you really start to get high and it starts to spread across your body and it's only hit a certain area, but you know it's going to take your whole body over. That's the feeling I have right now. And I feel like I want to say that I didn't know this was going to happen. Like, and this is, I think he's referring to his death. Like, he did not know this was going to happen. I do feel like he overdosed, but he didn't mean to. He didn't know that that was going to happen. Is it possible, Courtney, that you may have known him?
No, I don't know him that I can think of, like his from who he's showing himself to be as far as his looks or anything. I don't recognize him, although that is the right timeline, but I don't know him. But I see and I feel a sense of like the confusion, and I'm seeing it feels like this sense of well, I do have pain around the head and neck. I do have to mention that. Like the neck and the head, it was more pain in the head, but the neck was I'm holding my neck. It feels like an impulsive decision that was made, and after his transition, the passing of the physical and the soul, like disconnecting from the physical, it's kind of like I see him sitting on his bed and saying, pardon my French, but saying, oh shit, like, how did we get here? What just happened? Like, it's a very impulsive decision of a teenager, is what I'm seeing. It was it felt very impulsive. And like, there's such a sense of confusion of like, what just happened? That's all for now.
I will say that I do feel like his energy is coming in around you somehow, maybe connected to a friend of a friend or someone that lived like a few towns over, or so, there's a connection. It's not super direct, but like it's there. It's almost like reminding me of that game, like 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever it was, where like you have to find a connection through all the movies that like Kevin Bacon was in. I feel like I'm like trying to play that game and I was always so horrible at it, but it feels like there is something coming in around that. Yeah, I feel the impulsivity too. And I also will say that what he's showing me now is very sweet and I feel like there's something with his mom, something coming in around his mother. And I feel like his room may still be very much the way that it was. And I can see her standing in the doorway and I can just feel her heartache and her sadness and her tears. And I'm seeing something that he's doing somehow or showing me is that she was a couponer and she really liked to coupon. And she used to clip coupons from like the Sunday paper and the thing that used to get in the mail. And I feel like there's something with him giving her coupons and saving coupons for her and sending her the coupons just because she got such a joy when she was able to like save money on things or like get something for nothing. And I feel like that's like his way of like trying to, there's something that he's sending some sort of that energy, like trying to send her whatever joy he possibly can. Um, and I do feel like he just, there's a sense of confusion and guilt. And I think he just needs to, this just needs to happen for him. That's all for now.
So I was picking up on his energy and he was showing me him sitting on the bed and he started throwing up. And then what was coming out of his throat with like, it was like water and then all of a sudden chains started coming out. And I don't know if he was pulling them or I was pulling them or spirit was pulling, but someone was pulling the chains out of his mouth. And then all of a sudden it was like part of like, if something, I don't really know what would be, but part of like, if something was chained to cement and it broke off, like you would still have some of the cement, right? So that was coming out and came out of his mouth. Um, and as soon as that part came out, he like took this deep breath of like, and like just and then I saw his body start to fill with light. Um, and it just I feel like spirit like unchained him or he unchained himself from being attached to this world. That's all for now.
As you were sharing that, Jacqueline, I could feel that sense of relief. And what I saw was one of those wallets that the boys used to wear that had like the chain on it, and it would go to this like black leather wallet with like silver studs. And I see him taking that off and placing that on a dresser. It's like a dark wooden dresser that has brass handles. And I see him placing on it, and it was that same sense of like feeling like not tethered in the same way. And I feel like that wallet is filled with coupons and money and coupons he clipped for his mom. Like, and these coupons symbolize like his love or his like, um, just like some sense of something he's leaving her, luck or something to try to just give her some sense of joy. And like his love for her is like in that wallet, and he's just trying to send it to her. But something does feel lighter around him in the room. And I feel the blueness of the light again. But this time it feels like more like a baby blue kind of color and less of like an electric blue color or almost like a navy. It's like the blue's lightening up and almost like pulsating. And this is, his light is blue. The light that's opening up for him is blue to cross into. And I can see it on the wall behind where his bed was. Everything's just opening and it's like he could sit up and just walk into it. And I feel like if we could just all hold that space for him right now and just visualize that light opening and getting bright and just becoming like a passage for him to continue on his journey. I'm seeing a shaggy little dog that has a bandana on with hair across his eyes. Kind of reminds me of the dog from Annie that the girl had. And the dog's coming for him. And I just feel his tears right now for the dog. Just this joy to see the dog. And almost his feeling of just giving the dog a hug and burying his face in the dog's fur. There's a sense of relief in that, a huge amount of relief. There's such an immense lightness right now around my heart. It just, I hadn't realized maybe some of the heaviness I was feeling connected with him that kind of crept in. But I feel so much more relaxed. I feel like I can breathe a little better. Um, but he's making his way. That's all for now.
I was seeing, I could pick up on the dog, and I was seeing, like after the chains came out of his throat, like I started to see his head and like throat and heart fill with light, and then this whole time, I can just see the rest of him, like his entire body, like filling with light, and crossing over. And that's all for now.
So when you were talking about you felt the weightlessness, I felt like he took a huge breath. And I saw him when you were describing the dog, the house had almost like a created hallway, and it was just very long, and he just started walking with the dog, and I feel the dog is connected to the grandmother, and he just kept going and going down the long hallway, and as he was making his way, the house started to change. Like someone, like the rightful owners had owned the house now, and the changes are being made to the home. So it's like his whole sense of reality is now moving forward towards his transition to the other side. He's not trapped anymore.
So as we were talking, I started picking up on this little girl. She came into my dream last night, and curiously, she asked to go with me inside of a building, but um, Dana brought through that she might need to be crossed, and I definitely feel it. And she's here now. She's a little girl, maybe about 7. She's African American. She has some dreadlocks, and she's wearing like, I want to say like almost like a red plaid dress. And she showed me, she's showing me herself like a child, but I do also feel like like this is just a representation of her when she was little. Um, because I started seeing this older woman who was like in her 70s with gray hair, kind of up. And it's funny because I was seeing the woman, and then the little girl was beside her, and all of a sudden this like portal opened in the woman's body, in the center of her body. Just like this big portal opened, and I could see through it, and it looks like the cemetery where where I live. And then I was like almost about to like keep looking in or go through it, and then it closed. And then I was seeing the little girl herself standing next to the woman. Um, but yeah, that's all I was seeing of that for now.
Jacqueline, if it's the same little girl that you're seeing, I'm seeing she has it, she doesn't appear to have dreadlocks to me. She has like two braids, like it's almost like ponytails and then two braids coming out of each
Mm,
a braid out of each side where the ponytail
mhm,
is, and then she's got the white beads to like a elastic bead to hold it in place at the top and the bottom of each braid. And she has patent leather shoes on.
mhm. Yeah, you described her hair much better than I did, and 100% on point, especially the white beads.
I can't pin her. I'm having a hard time with she keeps pointing to like a building, but I can't. I keep
You know what?
seeing nighttime. That's all.
Um, well, two things are interesting about that. One, the pointing, because like I'm trying to ask her for more, and I'm gonna keep sitting with it, but the like I said, this portal, it didn't like completely close. I'm still seeing the woman's body kind of open, but she keeps pointing inside. But I'm like, but I can't go in, right? Um, so I'm gonna sit with it for a second, but she's definitely pointing to it. And the first time when she came to me last night in my dream, it was nighttime. So I'll keep going, but thank you.
I see the girl as well. Um, what I'm getting coming around her when you talk about the building, I'm feeling like I don't think it was a Catholic school per se, but it does feel like there was an element of religious schooling connected with her when she was a child. And I'm getting something that I've never quite felt before from a spirit that needs to be crossed, or maybe even a spirit ever. So I'm just going to kind of share what I'm getting and see how we can help her and piece the pieces of the puzzle together. I'm feeling like there's a connection to this little girl and her grandmother. So I feel like she's either calling out for her grandmother or hoping to see her grandmother when she crosses. But I also feel like there's this woman that's showing herself as a little girl. So when I saw both of them walking, I was seeing almost two versions of herself, and something about her crossing into the light. The reason she's not going is connected to an experience or something that happened to her when she was a young girl at school. And I almost see this building as like a looming, oppressive sort of brick, institutionalized sort of building. And it feels like I don't see doors on it. I don't see windows on it. It's just like a big solid row of like tan bricks. They're not even red bricks, they're like a tannish color. And this building just feels all like I don't want to go, like this is not the kind of place anyone would want to go into it. Like it's like you look at this building and you're like, oh, I don't want to go in there for any way, shape, or form. But it feels like it was a place where children went and were supposed to learn and be happy and be children. And so I feel like there's something from her childhood that she needs to reconcile or release or let go of or make peace with that's connected to this. Um, so I'm just gonna sit with it and see what else I get. But that's all for now.
Something I picked up on as you were talking, Dana, is like the oppressiveness is I mean, a spirit all of a sudden just came and like whacked her on the back end. And I feel like I know, I mean, I'm 38 and I know when I went to Catholic school, they 100% would hit you. Um, if you did something wrong or whatever, that was just like disciplinary action. And I feel like she absolutely experienced that. And it was a little bit traumatizing for her. Um, and something you just made me remember too was earlier in the journey, I had this like beast energy, this like dog werewolf kind of beast, really gnarly and angry and growling, and kind of like ripped open, like it was in a fight or something. Like I could see some blood and flesh. It came from behind her and kind of around her, and just all of a sudden, like it just appeared and it started growling and it came through, but then it just came out of nowhere. So I wasn't really sure who was connected to, and I was focused on the other boy. So, but I feel like it's 100% connected to her. And I asked her, I said, "Who is this? Like, do you know?" And she pointed up to the person who was beating her. So somehow that that energy is connected. That's all for now.
As you were talking, Jacqueline, I saw a couple things, and I got this sense of, like, I saw a hallway and there was a bunch of kids like walking in line, like two by two in line, and I could see the sort of like tall doors, and along the tops of the hallway, above where the wall was, there was windows that kind of let light into the classroom that could be cracked open to let airflow go through, I feel. And I could get the sense of all of a sudden she would be walking in line and something was making part of herself leave the body. So she could almost see herself walking down the hall, or like I'm seeing a classroom with rows of desks. I feel like there's a lot of kids in a classroom. Must have been like 35 or 40 kids in each classroom. And I'm getting that sense too of getting like whacked across the back of the head, and like almost like part of herself just came out of her body when that happened. And I feel like maybe there's some part of her energy or some fragment of herself that is like still in this building, that needs to like come back to her. And maybe it was this sort of trauma and the abuse of what happened, and I it feels like it was like physical and emotional, and that's just a lot of layers of what happened. And not that we need to unpack all of them, but I feel like it's like those little bits, almost like energetic, like dust or something. You know how sometimes when the sun comes through the window and you see all the dust and everything? And I always think to myself, oh man, that's always in the air. We just don't see it because there's not so much light there. There's that sort of feeling of little bits of particles of herself that took away her sense of wholeness and completion. And maybe not even just her, like it feels like this was like, I do feel like there's some connection to where this building was built, and maybe some connection to what was going on with the land before that. That's where the sort of animal connection is vaguely coming in around the edge. But that doesn't maybe feel like why we're seeing this. It feels like it's to help her pick up pieces of herself. That's all for now. I'm sorry. I know I said that was all, but it isn't. I'm getting two things coming in. One, I'm hearing, and I heard this earlier in the journey, is I'm hearing that like children's, I guess nursery rhyme would be the right word. And it's like 1, 2, buckle my shoes, 3, 4, shut the door. I'm hearing that, but then I'm also feeling and hearing that there was this one time where she experienced so much joy, and that was singing in the sort of I guess like chorus would be the right word. And I can just hear like almost this like beautiful, sweet, angelic voice. And I feel like she has such a lovely, lovely voice. And I feel like there's a feeling of her wanting to be reconnected with the purity of that voice. And the like the joy that she felt when she sung, like the lightness, the safe the safety she felt in that, in her body singing. Like that's when she really felt safe and whole and complete. And it was almost this feeling of her singing and returning bits of this dust and particles back into her, and that this is going to be helpful for her somehow. So I'm just going to kind of sit with that and feel into it and see if I can help with that a little. That's all for now.
So I was connecting with her and kind of seeing her in this school. I feel really connected to her because I also went to Catholic school and I also have similar experiences. Just the little bit that we've gathered here, but so I was sitting with her in the school and kneeling down and I put my hand on her heart. Um, because for some reason when I had this dream last night, I didn't really know who she was, and she said, "Can you help me?" And I said no in the dream. So I sat with her and I said, I'm sorry, I'm absolutely here to help you. And I put my hand on her heart and just sending her light. And then I forget exactly what you said, Dana, but you said something and about like the particles of dust and like I was just thinking like, about her coming back into her wholeness. And I said to her, can you also help me come into my wholeness also and heal the same wounds? And she smiled and she put her hand on my heart. And we sent each other energy. And oh, I can even feel it as I talk about it now, like this warmth on my heart. And then all of a sudden, also Dana it was connected to something you said, but all of a sudden her head just like flew back and it didn't come off, but it was like almost off her head. And I saw this energy, this like dark gray energy come out of her. And as it came out, I was pulled up with it. And we went through these really dark clouds. We were just like flying through them. And I felt like it was her shadow self. It was part of her shadow self and also part of like what she went through, like that negative, heavy energy. And we were just flying really fast through these dark clouds. And then all of a sudden I saw some light up ahead. And after a while, we just like hit this light and just it's golden and kind of orange. Um, and as soon as we hit that, she put her arms out and I put my arms out and we were just flying together in the light. Um, it was really beautiful. And that's all for now. Also, I know I said that's all for now, but I just opened my eyes for a second and I forgot that she told me her name actually. She wrote I wrote it down and I'm very curious now to go to the cemetery and see if I see it, but she said her name is Martha Gray, but Martha with an E, Marthe, Martha Gray. So, yeah, that's all for now.
I can hear a woman's voice singing. It's I don't know the song. Well, maybe when I hear it's actually the title of the song. I think it's a Beatles song, but I'm not sure. It's the long and winding road, but it's I'm not gonna sing for anybody because I can't. But I can just hear that almost like over and over. And there's a feeling of like a woman's voice walking along and singing that. And it's almost like the song I think says a long and winding road, but I'm feeling like there's a long and winding road home or somewhere, and that I just hear that being sung right now. And there's a feeling of again walking down the street, and but this time there doesn't feel like there's a fear of tripping. And I do feel like there was something connected to when she was at school, like not being like steady on her feet or something like that, and being really afraid to trip or fall or to mess up, and she carried with her her whole life. So maybe it wasn't really that there was a fear of falling with things. It was that ingrained fear of what was going to happen if she fell. That sort of like almost like all the trauma and the response and just carrying that energy around in her body her entire life. And that sort of like the PT, the post traumatic stress of that, like maybe not fully being able to relax into an experience because like there was just that physical tensing up and that feeling of being afraid to fall, and that now there's something about it that feels easier to walk for her somehow. um and maybe she's walking home now, and I feel like for a very long time after she didn't go to school there, she used to go out of her way not to have to walk by that building. Almost like she would go out of her way, so her path home would become that much more, like, long because she just didn't wanna go by the building. I'm just gonna kinda sit with her walking because I do feel like she's walking towards crossing. That's all for now.
when you were talking, I was seeing a building that she was pointing to, and it smells like smoke is coming from the building, or it's a smell of like either cigarette smoke or smoke stacks. It feels like a factory or a plant. It feels more like a factory. And there's a marquee at the top of the building in letters of the name of the factory, but I can't make it out. And it looks almost like a brass plate across the top with gold lettering. There, I feel like the factory had something to do with shoes. And I heard the name connected to this little girl, Eloise or Louise. That's all for now.
As you were talking, Courtney, I was getting the impression of like I was seeing a woman's closet, and I was seeing like on the bottom of the closet like a mound of shoes, like a whole bunch of shoes, and I feel like I was getting, I think, her saying something about how she was always trying to find the right pair of shoes that fit her, but she had like felt like she couldn't find a pair of shoes that fit her feet right. But there feels like there's an awareness that it wasn't about the shoes not fitting her feet. It was about how she was just never going to feel comfortable walking or something like it, that it wasn't that she had like weird feet. It's just it was all in how she felt with the walking and the fear of tripping and being in her, almost like being in her body physically connected to her feet, and just maybe feeling very ungrounded. Um, that I almost feel like she's kind of having this moment where she's almost kind of laughing at herself about the shoes, like, but it feels like there's a lightness connected around it, like there's something about her realizing, like, that it wasn't her feet this whole time, it was everything else. And I don't know why there's a sense of lightness around that, but maybe like almost like a light bulb going off, like she's seeing something, like or and I'm just seeing like all these like shoes in the closet, and again that feeling of like seeing these orthopedic, like old lady, like almost like ugly shoes. And she's like, man, I was wearing ugly shoes, like, like feeling like she could have been like wearing like cute shoes or something. I don't know, like, and I almost feel like she really wants a pair of like really cool, sexy heels or something like that. Um, and there's almost a sense of her, like, I'm seeing like bags and bags of these like white garbage bags tied with all of the shoes she had that were in her closet. And I almost don't, maybe this was something that happened when she passed that she like saw and was bearing witness to. But she's like, get rid of those ugly shoes. And I see like a shoe department, like old school shoe department, like the kind you would see at like Macy's or something. I don't even know if they have shoe departments like this anymore. And I feel like she's in there and she's looking at like all the different shoes, and I just keep seeing a pair of red like pumps. And I feel like she wants her like cool, fun, sexy shoe. Um, and I do feel like she's like getting that or shopping for it or getting that feeling of like dancing or wanting to go dancing connected to the music or something. I do feel a sense of lightness coming in with her around that. But that's all for now.
Dana, when you were talking, she was showing me it's funny you should mention about the heels because she's showing me a lot of red, a lot of red. So I was wondering if there were Louboutins that she got, with the high heels and the red on the bottom, but there's a connection between her not using her voice and the tripping. And she's showing me a lot of reds and oranges connected to her energy level when she was a little girl, when she was younger. That's all for now.
That feels really right on point. And there's almost this sense of like energy rising connected for her, like it's coming up from around her feet and her legs and like her lower chakras, and it's working its way up. And I feel like there's this like really fun red halter dress that kind of like goes in under the boobs and then flares out. And I can see the red dress and I can see the red shoes and red lipstick, and she's kind of twirling and dancing, and it just like the dress is just so beautiful against her skin, and she just feels like I feel like she knows she looks like hot stuff and wants to show it off. And I just get like a sense of really like she just almost like I hear her saying she's smoking, like smoking hot or something like that. And it just like it feels so good. It feels so like light and fun, and um I feel like she's ready to go dancing. It's just what I feel like. And that brings me a lot of joy for her. That's all for now, and I kind of feel like she's like gonna dance herself into flight, which is also a new thing for me. I've never seen that happen either. But it's really fun. It's really sweet. It feels really empowering. That's all for now. I'm feeling called to ask everyone if they feel comfortable to just this building, this school. I feel like I just want to send a lot of like healing white light, and I can almost see just the light filling the hallways and the classrooms and even the playground and the basement of the building, just filling it all with like white light, almost like the breeze or the wind is going in and just like clearing a white energy. And with it, there's almost this like little trail of red that's going through too. Um, just taking a moment to just kind of visualize this building being filled with light and healing, clearing energy. And I'm almost feeling this buzzing in my ear and hearing like the sounds of someone singing like chorus music, like church, like what do you call them? Hymns, I guess would be the word. I can't hear the words, but I can feel the sound of it. I'm just gonna like sit with this for a minute and just allow this light and this healing energy and almost a frequency of the sound to just really like clear the building out and to clear the space out and to allow that lightness and that healing energy to just fill our own bodies. Because when we feel it, it's like we're gonna know that it's happening, that it's working, that it's lightening things up. And I can feel it starting at my feet. I can feel this like warm flush of white, beautiful light just working its way up and kind of vibrating through my body. And as it's vibrating through my body, it's also vibrating through the hallway. It's like my leg is like a hallway or something. It's really, it's very interesting. Um, and clearing and lightening, and I just feel a lot of gratitude. I feel her gratitude for this. Just hearing like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And as I sat with it, I'm really like just felt the light. It's like I wasn't even in the building anymore. I just felt it going through my own body. All of a sudden, I felt like I can see myself on the roof, and I can see the like blue sky and the clouds, and I see a cardinal come along, and it like lands on the ledge of the building for a minute and sits there, and then it just flies away. And I just feel a lot of just lightness. Thank you. That's all for now.
I feel like I'm oof, back into my body. That's all for now.
I definitely feel more aware of the room that I'm sitting in now, for sure too. And I'm feeling called to ask if there's anything else that anyone would like to share. Because I think unless anyone has anything else to say, we work pretty intuitively on when we feel like the work that we're going to do for the time is done. I'm going to go ahead and close, but I'm also happy to hold space for any other messages. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. We are eternally grateful and deeply thankful to all spirits and beings who joined us tonight. Thank you for the wisdom and knowledge you shared. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for letting us be part of the gift of returning to the light. We thank the woman and the boy that stepped forward, and we continue to send you healing light and guidance as you make your journey in a deeper movement towards the light. Spirit, we ask for your continued guidance in the coming days and weeks to help these souls move along on their journey. And we call again on the sacred light of Source to replenish them, each other, and ourselves with the eternal love of Source. And may the great divine white light of love shine down into us and flow freely through us. May this love fill over all of our days and inform all of our decisions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. With this, the sacred circle is now closed. Namaste.